I think it's wonderful. I think the curiosity that is there is just fantastic. There are, I think, 4 schools from the Galway city, and then there are more than a half a dozen from Galway County. And when you look across the different topics they've chosen, what I think is very interesting is the mixture of what we would call the natural sciences or the physical sciences and the social and behavioural sciences. I think that's very, very good. I think that the other thing that over the years, as the exhibition goes on, you notice the undoing of any nonsense about there being a difference between, if you like, the human sciences and the biological sciences, or indeed between science and culture. And I think that's very important. I was Minister for Arts, Culture and the Gaeltacht, and I think it would have been wonderful if science had been combined with that, because both are dealing with intellectual curiosity and its application. And the other side of it is that people are dealing with science without they knowing it in every aspect of their life. And as you work your way back through the applications, you can not just only get all sorts of heavy usefulness out of it, but a lot of fun out of it. I mean, the girls who are doing their work on the influence of an electromagnetic field on the plants and so forth, it's wonderful because it's introducing both physics and botany. And then you over on I think when I looked at the project from Inishmaan on lichens, you know, this is Maureen de Valera was professor of botany in UCG when I was a young person, and she did work on lichens. So it's actually keeping great curiosities alive, I think. And you know, they are also enthusiastic about it. And what I think shows too, I think, is the interested teacher can in fact encourage and lead out an awful lot from the students. And I think over the years you know that, because you'll see the quality of the projects and the number of the projects that come in. I think that what is very important in it, and it's very interesting, if you look, for example, at a project like the defibrillator, one of the things that I think, one of the big debates, and I was a university teacher, but one of the big debates always about science is that science is not neutral. Science gave us the threat of nuclear annihilation. But science also has been to our enormous benefit in all of the medical areas, but in other areas. And what this is showing, if you like, is how human curiosity delivered through science, be it in the natural sciences, the physical sciences, or in the behavioral sciences, can in fact generate such new uses. And really these young students are not going to be thrown by anything. I often think of, in my time, I have to tell you, when I was their age, you had to choose at second level between studying Latin and Greek or science. And I did Latin and Greek. But much later on, when I was a university teacher, I found it necessary really to look at the history of scientific discovery. For example, paradigm shift in physics, which is so necessary for philosophy. And again, in the knowledge part of it, which is wonderful, is every major philosopher in the classical period was a scientist as well. They were always seeking to make experiments. But what I think about this as well is that it isn't heavy in a way in which they can enjoy it. And what I think is wonderful too is at your exhibition here, as you go to the stands, is the skills it is developing in people explaining their project. They're able to talk about it, and they're doing so in a way that is very pleasurable, obviously, for them. And the one I would be interested in would be in migration. In other words, how people assume, you know, when people migrate, that it's explainable by where you came from or where you end up. But I do know that a lot happens in between. So it would have been on transience and migration. But then if I was doing another kind of one, because I love dogs, I think that there is not enough research on the intelligence of dogs. I think they are marvelous. I had Bernese mountain dogs, and I think that they were wonderful, wonderful, intelligent animals. It's an investment in the future. And I think as well, those large companies who apply science and so forth, the fact that they are giving back, and they know very well too, I am sure, that the next generation of innovation is going to come from the youngsters that are around here.